Hi, I'm Nadia Rubaiat. Today I am going to present assignment 4 on my selected population on cardiovascular disease among South Asian Americans young adults, age group between 25 to 50 years. So let's get begin. Thank you. So when compared to other ethnic origins of comparable age, sex, or gender, South Asians are more susceptible to many forms of cardiovascular diseases. Numerous variables, including a combination of hypertension, dyslipidemia, metabolic syndromes, overweight or obesity, prediabetes and type 2 diabetes contribute to the increased risk of cardiovascular disease among the South Asian groups. There are many research shows that the prevalence of classic cardiovascular disease risk factors remain high among South Asians residing in the United States, especially among the younger population, ages between 25 to 50 years, and it has recently been on the rise. This study focuses on optimizing lifestyle factors and addressing modifiable risk factors to mitigate the risk of cardiovascular diseases within a high-risk South Asian American populations. A varied ethnic community from South Asian nations such as India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, and Bhutan makes up the South Asian population in the United States. They are one of the fastest growing ethnic group in the US with notable differences in socioeconomic status, health and demographics. South Asians in the USA are a heterogeneous group with diverse languages, cultures and religions. According to the US Census Bureau, the South Asian American population numbers over 5.4 million in 2020, with Indians being the largest subgroup, followed by Pakistanis, Bangladeshis, and others. South Asians are concentrated in US's metropolitan areas like New York City, Los Angeles, Chicago, San Francisco, and Houston. The goals of the presentations are to educate the target audience about the prevalence of CVD among South Asian Americans, provide information, raising awareness, and encourage the target audience and to seek medical attention if they experience the cardiovascular diseases, and to encourage young adults to spread awareness with their family and friends, um, to grow the awareness with the community. Secondary data collection methods are utilized to gather comprehensive data for this research paper on cardiovascular diseases in South Asian American young adults. The data was collected from various sources, including reports and studies conducted by government agencies and the research institutions. The Health Department and the State Health Department regularly publish reports on cardiovascular diseases, including prevalence rates, risk factors, community health initiatives, mortality rates, etc., and hospitalizations and preventive measures as well. Universities and research institutions often conduct studies on cardiovascular disease in South Asian groups. Most of the literature review was collected from PubMed, Google Scholar, and some organizations such as the Masala organization work for South Asian Americans' health and well-being. They also share publications and data sources for the South Asian living in the USA. So, One major limitations of researching cardiovascular disease in the South Asian population living in the USA is the lack of disaggregated data. While studies may include data on Asian Americans as a broad racial or ethnic category, they often fail to distinguish between different subgroups within the Asian American populations, including South Asians. Traditional South Asians' cultural practices on diets, which are often high in unhealthy fats and sugars, can contribute to the development of cardiovascular diseases. Cultural norms around physical activity may also discourage South Asian Americans from exercising regularly. Lack of awareness and understanding about cardiovascular diseases, risk factors, and preventive measures can hinder behavior change. The prevalence and incidence of cardiovascular diseases in the South Asian American population is increasing rapidly. South Asians have a higher risk of developing CAD and ASCAD compared to other ethnic groups. Genetics, lifestyle choices, and cultural factors contribute to the higher risk. It is crucial to address the growing burden of CVD in the South Asian American populations through targeted interventions and awareness campaigns. The selected populations of South Asian Americans young adults ages between 25 to 30, 25 to 50 years old is affected by different forms of CVDs based on age, gender, genetics, lifestyles, and access to healthcare. Globally, cardiovascular disease is the primary cause of mortality and disability. Coronary artery diseases, which I called CAD, heart attacks, strokes, and heart failure are among the severe complications that may ensure. Environmental behavioral and genetic factors are the primary cause of cardiovascular diseases. A sedentary lifestyle, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, smoking, obesity, substance abuse, and diabetes are all risk factors for CAD. Prominent risk factors associated with cardiovascular disease fall into mechanical or biological and behavioral categories. Diabetes, hypertension, total cholesterol, body mass index, and central obesity are examples of biological or mechanical risk factors. On the other hand, deficiencies in fruits and vegetable consumption, excessive consumption of sugars, carbs, alcohol consumption, and physical activity are behavioral risk factors. This is an overall CVD risk factors analysis chart. We can see how the cardiovascular diseases, risk factors, and their direct contribution and indirect contributing environmental factors are happening. According to the organization called Masala Research Why, South Asian Americans' non-biological risk factors are increasing the rate of CVD within this ethnic group. One major reason they found that about the dietary patterns and the major changes in the parents who had been in the country for longer tended to westernize their diets, adding more fat, alcohol, and red meat. And on the other hand, vegetarians tended to have lower fasting glucose and higher HDL values. So one of the main risk factors for several chronic illness is inactivity. Inactivity has a substantial correlation with obesity, anxiety, cancer, type 2 diabetics, insulin resistance, and different forms of cardiovascular disease. Compared to other racial or ethnic minorities, South Asians have lower rates of physical activity. In one cohort, accelerometer data shows that only 52% of individuals reached recommended levels of leisure time physical activity. So the common psychological risk factors are smoking and tobacco use, sedentary lifestyles, and obesity, and other risk factors such as high blood pressures and diabetes exacerbated the risk of cardiovascular disease among South Asians American groups. So the research has shown a correlation between cardiovascular diseases and many social, psychological, and environmental characteristics such as neighborhood residency, anxiety, depression, optimism, and social support. Studies on the relationship between these variables and the risk of heart disease among South Asians, especially those living in the US, are few nevertheless. Here I put a table on the socioeconomic and environmental factors that affect CVD risks. So according to several research studies on the different age group of South Asian Americans, age is a determining factors in assessing absolute risk in most risk scores. Hence, South Asians tend to have lower scores while having several risk factors at a younger age. Dietary modifications, physical activity promotions, community engagement can help in intervention of the cardiovascular disease. Educational campaigns can help individuals to understand the risk factors, symptoms, and preventive measures. So, effectively communicating with the target population at risk of cardiovascular diseases requires selecting formats that resonate with their preferences, habits, and lifestyles. We will focus on the following channels like social media platform, community events, and engagement with religious institutions provide resources and support for a healthy lifestyles. So, if I prioritize regular physical activity with a low carb, high protein intake diet with various fruits and vegetables, then it can reduce the risk of cardiovascular diseases and improve overall health by, I can say, number one, healthy eating habits, regular physical activities, changing in healthy lifestyle may prevent the CVD on target populations. So thank you for being with me. If needed, please feel free to email me. Thank you.